Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Township Mapleton Council meeting for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, the first one of 2025. So glad that we have so many people here today. Welcome. December 31st, Mapleton lost a distinguished resident. Carl Hall passed away at the age of 87. Carl dedicated his life to farming, but also to his community. Serving as a member of council in Peel Township and later on as their mayor. And then following amalgamation, Carl became the first elected mayor of the new township of Mapleton, serving as such from 1998 until 2003. Carl also spent 1 year as the warden of the county in 2002. A couple years back, I had the privilege of going to Carl's house and presenting Carl and his wife Margaret with a certificate to celebrate their 60th anniversary. And Carl, I tell you, every time I had a sit down with Carl, was not a short chat. It was a long chat. And he was well liked and well respected. He was always good to have around. So on behalf of council and the township, just our condolences to the Hall family. At this time, if you are able, please rise for Roll Canada. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we do have a new member of the Mapleton team here. We'd like to welcome Rachel Carter. Rachel, welcome. She's our new Deputy Treasurer, and I'm going to turn it over to Patrick to give us an introduction.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. It gives me great pleasure to, I guess I should start by saying the end of last year, our last meeting of last year, I think we bid a happy retirement to our departing Deputy Treasurer, who did an excellent job for the township for the past several years. And with that, with every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end, is the saying. But we'll say it gives me great pleasure to announce the appointment of Rachel Carter as our new Deputy Treasurer. Rachel brings a wealth of experience and expertise to this important role. We're extremely excited having her join the finance team. She holds a Chartered Professional Accountant designation and has several years of experience in finance administration. And with that, I'll hand it over to Rachel to introduce herself.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. Thank you, Mayor Davidson and Patrick, for the introduction. Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to join the finance team here. I'm excited to be able to work with a team of talented and engaged staff and council to support future growth, sustainable growth for Mapleton. Patrick mentioned I have over 7 years of progressive accounting experience, specializing in financial reporting, auditing, budgeting, and financial analysis. So I look forward to applying this knowledge here to support Patrick in making data-driven, fiscally responsible decisions to build a strong foundation for Mapleton to carry out its long-term financial strategy. I've only been a part of the team here for about a week now, but it's already evident that we have a really strong team here that's ready and willing to confront challenges that we are currently facing and may face in the future as a municipality that leads through innovation. I grew up in Mapleton, and I previously worked in the Parks and Recreation Department, so I'm excited for things to come full circle and return to Mapleton in a new capacity and bring forth some additional skills and expertise. And I'm looking forward to working with everyone to continue to drive Mapleton's success.
Thank you, and welcome, Rachel. Did you want to talk about anything else? Anybody else that you want to talk about that's new to the team, or do you want to do that another day?
Sorry, you want Jamie Morgan? He's new to the team, or no? Sorry, no. No, nobody else this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. I do confirmation of minutes. Moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham, that the minutes of the Township Mapleton Council meeting held on December 10th, 2024 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried. There are no matters arising from the minutes, and we go into the Planning Act. We have a couple meetings under the Planning Act. The first one is a public meeting under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies to give consideration to an application ZBA 2024-16 for a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. The subject lands are located at Part Lot 1, Concession 11, Part Lots 539, 540, and 544, Bolton Survey, at the 137 Wellington Street in North and Drayton. The purpose and effect is to rezone a portion of the property to allow residents a condition of severance application B47/24, which severed a 0.4 hectare parcel for residential use. The retained parcel is 26.8 hectares and is occupied by residents and a shed. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements, please.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. On-site postings completed December 19th. And in your planning package, you will see comments from the GRCA, Source Water, County of Wellington Roads, and the County of Wellington Planner. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will hear from the planner. Linda Redmond.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as already stated, this is a rezoning that is a condition of a consent application for the property. The applicants have severed off a residential lot from the lands, and as such, a rezoning is required in order to permit the construction of a residential use. We have no concerns with the request. The severance was approved. The township supported that severance. The lands are located in an area of Drayton that does not have services available to it and is not anticipated to have services anytime soon. And all the residential properties surrounding this parcel has a zoning on it that would reflect a unserviced lot. So the recommendation is that that zoning is placed on this lot as well. Again, we have no concerns, and it's to satisfy condition.
Thank you, Linda. Do the owners, Robert and Elizabeth Martin, have any comments? Anything to add? No? Okay, that's good. And from those in attendance, please indicate your state and your name and address for record. We'll first hear from those in support of the zoning application. Is there anybody here wishing to speak in support of the zoning application? Anybody here wishing to speak in opposition to the zoning application? Any questions from members of council? Public meeting is now concluded. Thank you for attending. Resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens. Township Mapleton Council received for information planning report regarding ZBA 2024-16, 137 Wellington Street North, Part Lot 1, Concession 11, Bolton Survey. Any comments or questions at this point? All in favor? That's carried. We'll move on to the next public meeting. It's a public meeting under the Planning Act to hear comments from the public and agencies and to give consideration to application ZBA 2024-17, the Catholic Elementary School for proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Subject lands are located at Part Lot 1, Concession 10, RP 61R6827, Part 1, 7 Green Street, Drayton. Purpose and effect is to rezone the subject lands from residential to institutional to permit the development of an elementary school and associated daycare facilities. Mr. Clerk, statutory requirements.
Thank you, sir. Staff can confirm that property owners, Mapleton staff, and agencies were provided with the required notice. There is a comment summary in the Township Planning Report. Proper on-site postings were completed on December 20th. And also in the Planner's Report are comments from the County of Wellington Roads Department, County of Wellington Planning, and Source Water Protection. Thank you.
We'll now hear from Linda Redmond.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a pretty straightforward rezoning. The lands are designated residential in the county official plan, which includes the provisions to allow institutional uses such as schools. It's appropriately located for this type of use. We did do a preliminary review and have a preliminary meeting with the school board to review their proposed site plan. There's no formal application at this point in time, but we have reviewed the location of the building, parking, and those sort of things, and everything seems to meet all the zoning requirements for the institutional zoning. So the only request at this point is to rezone the lands from residential to institutional to allow the school and the associated daycare. We have no concerns with the request.
Thank you, Linda. Does the applicants have any further comments, questions at this point? Okay. Any comments from those in attendance, please indicate so and state your name and address for the record. We'll first hear from those in support of the zoning amendment. Anybody here wishing to speak in support of the zoning amendment? Anybody here wishing to speak in opposition to the zoning amendment? Questions from members of council? Then I will conclude this public meeting. Resolution here, 6.2, moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. Township Mapleton Council received for information planning report regarding ZBA 2024-17, Part Lot 1, Concession 10, RP 6827, Part 1. Any further questions or comments? Councillor Martin.
I should ask this before you read the motion there, but just one quick question on this. What is the next step for this particular property?
Planner Redmond.
Through you, Mayor, the next step will be, once the zoning is in place, they will be submitting their site plan application, and we will do a technical review of that and issue site plan approval, and then a building permit can be issued.
Further questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We have no delegations tonight. First report is report under the building department. The month-end building department report. Tim, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. The building department is pleased to present the December month-end report, which outlines the type and number of building permits issued and the associated fees that were collected. The report attachment shows we issued a total of 24 permits and collected approximately $40,700, which is substantially higher when compared to the previous 3 years. The attachment also shows the year-to-date totals for fees collected being lower than the previous 3 years, due to a decrease in intake of residential and ICI permits. I'm excited for 2025 here to see what it brings, and obviously a school, hopefully. Thank you.
Resolution I have here is moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information Building Department Report BD 2025-01 dated January 14, 2025 regarding permit activity for the month of December and activity year-to-date. Questions for Tim? Mr. Martin.
Year-end report. So through you, Mr. Mayor, with your annual revenues kind of being down as in comparison to the other 3 years, like you already mentioned, any concerns at all from within your department as far as the year-end goes? And I know you guys run independent of levies and all that kind of stuff, so how are you making out as far as the year-end goes?
Through you, Mayor Davidson, to Councillor Martin. The first meeting of February, I will be presenting the year-end report, which will outline how we did for this previous year, but As you know, building permits and the fees collected are based on when the public applies, so I can't really 100% comment on how well we did at this point. But February, there will be some clear figures there.
Great answer, Tim. February. Anything further? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
Next thing up, we have the Finance Department Strategic Asset Management Policy. Patrick?
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. This report's more of a housekeeping report. Under Ontario Regulation OREG 58817, we're required to maintain and update a strategic asset management policy. The previous policy was written and adopted in 2019. Legislatively, it's to be reviewed and updated every 5 years. The Township of Mapleton consistently exceeds the standards within OREG 58817. I think this council has witnessed that through the presentation and adoption of 2 successive asset management plans for core and non-core infrastructure. We've started to develop what's evident as a holistic culture of asset management here at the township. We're focused on sustainability and reliability within all of our municipal infrastructure. This policy more or less sets out the responsibilities of council, staff, and the public when it comes to infrastructure asset management. The review looked at policies in other jurisdictions and some industry best practices. Township staff are heavily engaged with the Canadian Network of Asset Managers, where a lot of those best practices do come from. That being said, the existing policy was very well written through the leadership of the previous treasurer. There were some minor updates within the policy itself, nothing substantive, and then overall it was made to look and feel a little bit more visually appealing, consistent with the other asset management presentations. So this was put together by our asset procurement manager, Amon Baines, who couldn't be here tonight, but I'm happy to take any questions from council.
Board FIN 2025-01 regarding the Strategic Asset Management Policy update. Questions then to Patrick on this update? It's an excellent report. All in favor? Thank you. It's carried. Property tax write-offs, Patrick.
Okay, thank you once again, Mayor Davidson. Another annual report being brought forward. I will note that the title of the report is a typo. This is the 2024 property tax write-offs. We haven't started writing off 2025 property taxes yet, so that's a typo by myself. This is provided on an annual basis, just summarizes for council at a high level the value of tax write-offs that are processed by the municipality. In 2024, staff processed write-offs on 210 properties across the township, which are summarized in a graphic within the report, spread across TIAs or tax incentive approvals on farms, property tax roll notices, minutes of settlement, 357s, and seniors rebates. As is noted, we continued to have a significant volume of farmland undergoing the TIA or tax incentive approvals. This is due to changeover in properties, ownerships, and the requirement to reapply to AgriCorp for that classification. So overall, the total write-offs in 2024 were roughly $253,000, $92,500 of that applied to the township itself. We do budget or have a placeholder within the budget estimating on average around $80,000 of write-offs, so this was above that. But as the report notes, our supplementary taxes in 2024 were also well above estimates. The consolidated balance of supplementary taxes net of write-offs will be included within year-end financial reporting, but I can forecast that that'll be in the positives for 2024. That's it. We don't get into details on specific properties with write-offs, but just numbers of properties for your information.
Thank you, Patrick. Resolution moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reid. The Township Mapleton Council received for information Finance Report FIN 2025-02 regarding the 2024 property tax write-offs. Questions or comments? to Patrick. Councillor Woodham.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. Through you, I do have a question for our Treasurer CFO, Patrick Kelly. In reading the report, I need some clarification. I'm not sure if I understand what the seniors rebate would be, and if you can explain what it is in the amount of $1,507.20, please.
Sure, through you, Mayor Davidson to Councillor Woodham. So the seniors rebate program is established by the County of Wellington. There is information on it on our website, but I'll get into that. The county offers a tax relief program for low-income seniors and low-income persons with disabilities. The intent is to provide a mechanism to assist those least able to pay significant increases in taxes due to a reassessment. Those applications are received and processed by the township. So in total, there was 10 eligible applications that were processed in 2024. Each of those properties received a $400 seniors rebate. That $400 rebate is shared across each of the different levels, and that $1,500 is our portion of the total $4,000 in rebates.
Any other questions? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? That's received. Thank you. Carried. Moving on to item 10.2, approval of bylaws. Moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin, that bylaws numbered 2025-001 and bylaw number is 2025-002 be hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Any questions on these? All in favor? It's carried. And correspondence for council's direction, but we do have a number of correspondence for council's information. Does anybody wish to speak to any of those? We have 8 of them. Councilor Reid.
Through you, Mayor, I just wanted to note 12.4, where we're talking about municipal code of conduct changes and standardization. And looking, it sounds like they're going to be looking for feedback. I just want to make sure, like, is that something that we have done already or will be doing?
Well, I haven't done it ourselves yet. Manny?
Through you, Your Worship, not likely. I don't think, I think our code of conduct is fairly strong the way it's written, and I don't see much variation from the provincial code of conduct versus ours. I don't know who did ours, but we've, since I've joined, we've inherited it, and it seems to meet all the check boxes. And I think the only thing that would happen is that we have to kind of standardize it across municipalities, but we're just, we won't be providing feedback, if that's what you're asking.
Other questions? Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to piggyback on the last comment, the standardized municipal code of conduct, I think, is probably long overdue. I don't know what I'm going to do over my morning coffee if I'm not going to read about councillors behaving badly, though. Like, there's a lot, and I find it a great daily read, to be honest. But you can jest when it's not us in that situation, right? So I think that this is long overdue. I think whether there's teeth attached to it or not, there's a lot of variables attached to a violation. Everybody's got to be in agreement. It's got to be unanimous, all that stuff. So you'd really have to have a lot of stars aligning for it to actually be meaningful, but to actually have some legislation that would have an option, I guess, to try and curtail some of this stuff is probably a good thing. So be interesting to see if it takes or sticks.
Thank you. Other comments or questions on any of these 8? Go ahead, Councillor Ottens.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. This is stepping one up about the GRCA. Can you refresh my memory? Who is our Mapleton rep on the GRCA?
That's Lisa Hearn. Anything further? Any notices of motion? Other business, number 15. Mike?
Should probably start off by saying this is not booze. I know it looks like it, but it's actually maple syrup. I should have clarified that from the start. I know that's, anyways, just a personal thank you to the rest of council and our staff. We've had a tricky couple of months at home, and we really appreciated the cards, the texts, the flowers. Your generosity was really appreciated, and Chief Harrow in his other life operates as the Minto Fire Chief as well, and he was the point person for the celebration of life for Dean, and it turned into a bit of a project for him. So we really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I know how much the family's been going through in this period, so if you need support, we're here. Anything further on other business? I know we have Roma coming up very shortly for all of us, which is always good to go down and learn and understand what's happening in rural Ontario, besides what's happening here in Mapleton. We got some great things happening here in Mapleton. Some other areas, they're struggling a little bit more. But there's some good learnings to be had at Roma coming up, so looking forward to that. Anything further? All right, nothing. Usually Marlene has something to say about Drayton 150 or nothing. Okay. Then we'll move on to closed session. Resolution 16.1.